The classic sitcom One Day at a Time aired from 1975 to 1984 and became a television favorite for its relatable characters, emotional depth, and honest portrayal of a single mother raising her daughters. While the show brought laughter and comfort to millions, the real lives of some of its beloved cast members were marked by heartbreak and tragedy. Over the years, we've lost several of these talented actors, some to illness, others to unexpected circumstances. In this video, we take a closer look at the stars who are no longer with us, remembering their unforgettable performances and honoring the legacies they left behind. Their stories are a poignant reminder that even those who make us smile often carry burdens of their own. Bonnie Franklin was born on January 6, 1944, and played in Romano in One Day at a Time beginning in 1975 at age 31. Her character was a fiery, independent single mother, progressive, resilient, and an emblem of second-wave feminism on screen. Though she kept her image spotless, insiders whispered of intense control issues on set, especially regarding creative control over in storyline. She reportedly clashed bitterly with producers and once threatened to walk out if her feminist vision for the character was diluted. Despite a successful start on Broadway, Franklin's TV career stalled post One Day at a Time. Rumors swirled of her being difficult, and she was quietly blacklisted by several major producers in the late 80s. Privately, her 29-year marriage to playwright Marvin Minoff was marred by long periods of estrangement, largely due to her relentless perfectionism and refusal to start a family, something she later regretted. She battled depression in silence, particularly after the death of her father. Bonnie Franklin died on March 1, 2013, at age 69 from complications of pancreatic cancer. Nanette Fabre, born October 27, 1920, joined the show in 1979 as Grandma Catherine Romano at age 59. On screen, she was the voice of reason, gentle, wise, and warm. But behind the scenes, Fabre battled demons few ever saw. Her early years in Hollywood were defined by brutal studio contracts, forced dieting, and exploitative producers who preyed on young actresses. Though she later found purpose advocating for the hearing impaired, having struggled with hearing loss herself, she was haunted by years of untreated mental illness, reportedly misdiagnosed and over-medicated in the 1950s and 60s. Her first marriage ended in a secret abortion scandal that tabloids only hinted at, and she lived with constant guilt, which she later confessed to in private interviews. While she projected maternal grace, insiders say she was occasionally volatile on set, snapping at directors and questioning every line. Her political outspokenness on disability rights put her at odds with executives, and she was quietly removed from several projects as a result. Nanette Fabre died on February 22, 2018, at the age of 97 from natural causes. Pat Harrington Jr. was born on August 13, 1929, and began playing Schneider, the overconfident superintendent, in 1975 at age 46. Schneider's exaggerated swagger and false bravado made him lovable, but Harrington was hiding deeper insecurities beneath the surface. A career voice actor turned sitcom star, Harrington's tenure on One Day at a Time was riddled with power plays. Multiple sources claim he often undermined co-stars to steal scenes and was known for refusing to rehearse properly, clashing especially with the younger cast. Off-camera, his public image was clean, but privately, he struggled with infidelity and a gambling problem that nearly bankrupted him in the early 1980s. His first marriage collapsed under the weight of his growing fame and erratic behavior. Friends say he carried bitterness over how little creative input he had on the show. Harrington's offbeat humor sometimes turned cruel behind the scenes, and crew members remember his frequent rants when scripts didn't center his character. Harrington died on January 6, 2016, aged 86, from complications related to Alzheimer's disease. Howard Hessan, born February 27, 1940, became Sam Royer in 1982 at age 42. Sam was calm, grounded, a counterpoint to N's intensity, but Hesman's real life was anything but serene. A product of San Francisco's psychedelic scene, Hessan openly admitted to drug use in the 60s and 70s, but few knew how deep it went. During his early career, he was arrested for possession and briefly blackballed, performing under pseudonyms to get by. His breakthrough in WKRP in Cincinnati was nearly lost after a violent altercation with a network exec over censorship. Joining One Day at a Time, Hessan clashed with Franklin, whom he privately called oppressively self-righteous. He never married or had children and often joked darkly about the emptiness of fame. Friends said he lived like a recluse between jobs, battling chronic anxiety and agoraphobia, worsened by a failing liver due to years of alcohol abuse. He was considered brilliant but volatile, known to storm off set or refuse direction if he felt the material was beneath him. Howard Hessan died on January 29, 2022, aged 81, from complications following colon surgery. Joseph Campanella, born November 21, 1924, appeared as Ed Cooper in 1976 at age 52. Ed was cold, pragmatic, and distant, a perfect mirror of Campanella's own emotional detachment. While praised for his dignified on-screen presence, Joseph had a turbulent personal life, marked by professional envy and suppressed rage. He reportedly resented being cast in supporting roles, believing his looks and talent warranted leading man status. Industry insiders whisper that his marriage wasn't as idyllic as it appeared. His wife allegedly left him briefly in the 70s after discovering a string of affairs with younger actresses, including one that led to a quiet settlement in NDAs. He was once caught in a bitter legal battle with an agent over contract fraud, which was settled quietly to avoid tarnishing his gentleman image. Campanella's relationship with his children was strained. One son famously skipped his funeral. Joseph Campanella died on May 16, 2018, aged 93, of natural causes. John Hillerman, born December 20, 1932, joined One Day at a Time in 1976 at age 43, playing the stiff, bureaucratic Mr. Connors. While his character grated against in Romano's independent spirit, Hillerman's own life was more enigmatic. Publicly polished, privately reclusive, he was the subject of persistent rumors within the Hollywood elite. Despite never marrying, Hillerman was often seen in the company of much younger male companions, sparking quiet whispers in an era still hostile to LGBTQ identities. He was notoriously prickly on set. Crew members from Magnum, PI recalled his icy temperament and demands for solitary green rooms. His professional veneer masked deep loneliness, worsened by a fraught relationship with his devout Texan family, who reportedly shunned him. A man of mystery until the end, he died of cardiovascular disease on November 9, 2017, aged 84, without ever publicly addressing the swirling speculation around his personal life. Charles Sbert was born on March 9, 1938, and portrayed Jerry Davenport in 1977 at the age of 39. His character, though lighthearted and awkward, became a gentle contrast to the emotional chaos around in Romano's household. Yet off-camera, Sbert's rise wasn't without bruises. While he later found steady success on Trapper John M.D., what's often glossed over is his bitter exit from several stage productions in the 70s, where directors allegedly complained of his overbearing attitude and control issues. His pivot to directing was less a passion and more a necessity. He was quietly blacklisted from some acting circles after reported fallouts. Behind closed doors, Sbert battled bouts of intense anxiety, masking them with perfectionism that alienated collaborators. Although he escaped major scandal, some former colleagues described him as emotionally erratic and prone to obsessive micromanagement. He died on May 1, 2022, at age 84, from COVID-related pneumonia, leaving behind a career admired on the surface, yet shadowed by hidden tensions. Nedra Voles, born June 18, 1908, brought Mrs. Peabody to life in 1976 at the age of 67, radiating sass and sweetness as the archetypal feisty grandma. But behind the wholesome screen persona lay a past as colorful as vaudeville itself. In her early years, Nedra reportedly performed under a different name to distance herself from her family's disapproval of her showbiz ambitions. Multiple sources in the entertainment underground suggested she'd been blackballed in the 40s for defying powerful producers who expected more than just acting talent. Though she later reinvented herself as a sitcom sweetheart, she was known to carry grudges and reportedly confronted casting agents who'd rejected her decades earlier. Despite being scandal-free in her later years, she harbored an unshakable distrust of Hollywood's power players. Voles passed away from natural causes on January 20, 2003, at the remarkable age of 94, her long life marked by survival in an industry that often chewed up the kindest souls. Dick ONeal, born August 29, 1928, entered One Day at a Time in 1976 at 47 as Orville, a gruff yet sympathetic presence. Typecast for his loud voice and Irish charm, O'Neill's behind-the-scenes persona was far from jovial. Known in the industry as a professional bulldozer, he often bullied junior actors and clashed with female directors, once storming off set over what he called feminist nonsense. Though married, whispers in New York theater circles suggested he led a double life in the 60s, frequenting speakeasies and engaging in affairs. He reportedly had a long-standing feud with a well-known producer that led to him being blacklisted from several networks for years. Friends noted his increasing paranoia in the 90s, fearing betrayal by close colleagues. His death on November 17, 1998, from heart failure at age 70, closed the curtain on a man both revered and resented, an actor whose booming presence concealed a fragile defensive core. Chuck McCann was born on September 2, 1934, and played the oddball character Beerbelly in 1981, at the age of 47. On screen, Beerbelly was the kind of lovable eccentric who could make a dull moment burst with laughter, a trait McCann had long perfected in children's television. But behind the affable facade, McCann's life was a whirlwind of career chaos, personal betrayals, and behind-the-scenes breakdowns. Despite being a household name in the 60s and 70s, McCann's descent began with a string of failed TV pilots and a notorious feud with producers over his erratic behavior and volatile moods. Known for flying into rages on set and going off script, his antics eventually led to him being quietly blacklisted from several mainstream projects. Off camera, his marriage collapsed amid rumors of infidelity and gambling debts, while his strained relationship with his children became a source of constant sorrow. Haunted by lawsuits and whispers of unpaid debts to former collaborators, McCann masked his demons with self-deprecating humor. He died on April 8, 2018, at age 83 from congestive heart failure. Peter Jason, born July 22, 1944, played Cam Randolph in 1978 when he was 34. Cam was assertive, opinionated, a foil for the show's more emotionally driven characters. Jason was much the same off-screen, brash, confrontational, and fearless. Though a staple in gritty films and television, Jason's career was marred by his combative attitude. He was reportedly fired from a network series in the early 80s for berating a young co-star in front of the crew, and rumors swirl that several female castmates found him intimidating and verbally abusive. A favorite of director John Carpenter, Jason's steady film work hid deeper troubles. He struggled with alcohol for decades and had a well-documented falling out with his first agent, whom he accused, on record, of sabotaging his career. Despite marrying twice, both relationships collapsed under the weight of his obsessive dedication to work and constant paranoia about being sidelined. He often clashed with directors and was known to rewrite his lines without permission, leaving editors scrambling. Peter Jason died of cancer on February 20, 2025, at age 80. Claudet Neans, born on April 10, 1937, portrayed Marge Royer in 1982 at age 45. Marge was a poised, intelligent voice of reason. Nevin's roles always exuded class and restraint, but her personal life veered far from the polished veneer. A respected theater actress with an Ivy League education, she faced brutal rejection from Hollywood's inner circles for being too cold, too serious, in an industry obsessed with glamour. After a career high in the 70s, Neans was quietly replaced in 2 major studio films amid rumors of her clashes with producers over sexist rewrites. Her reputation as difficult but principled haunted her, and she became a cautionary tale among agents unwilling to back outspoken actresses. Her marriage to television director Elliot Silverstein reportedly disintegrated after years of emotional distance and career jealousy, and the estrangement from one of her children, who later wrote a scathing memoir about growing up with an ice queen mother, further darkened her legacy. Neans died in hospice care on February 20, 2020, at age 82. Fran Ryan, born November 29, 1916, entered One Day at a Time in 1977 at age 61, playing Eve, a no-nonsense nurse with a dry wit and sharp instincts. In real life, Ryan had lived through harrowing losses long before stepping onto a sitcom set. Widowed twice before age 30, and having lost her only child in infancy, she channeled her pain into a tough exterior that often alienated co-stars. Her sharp tongue and refusal to play the Hollywood game led to frequent clashes with producers, especially when she was replaced in long-running series with younger, softer actresses. Though respected, she was privately viewed as bitter and impossible to direct. Her rumored affair with a married network executive in the 60s created scandalous tension behind the scenes, and whispers of her gambling problem followed her for decades. By the 90s, Ryan had all but vanished from public life, nursing a series of health issues in a small California town. She died of natural causes on January 15, 2000, at age 83. Morgan Stevens, born October 16, 1951, took on the role of Fred in 1979 at age 28, a thoughtful, quiet character who often lingered in the emotional background. But Morgan's real-life story was far darker. A promising actor with leading man looks, Stevens' career imploded after a single brutal incident. In 1989, he was wrongly arrested and savagely beaten by LAPD officers while in custody. The injuries left his face permanently damaged and his spirit broken. He won a settlement, but his confidence and career never recovered. Bitter and reclusive, he lashed out in interviews, blaming the industry for turning its back on him. After a failed engagement and a bitter property dispute with his own family, Stevens withdrew completely. Rumors spread of his obsessive hoarding, chronic depression, and strange late-night rants left on answering machines of old colleagues. By the 2000s, he was a ghost in Hollywood, declining all interviews and refusing help. On January 26, 2022, Stevens was found dead in his kitchen, alone for days. He had died of arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease at age 70. Helen Cleb was born on January 6, 1907, and portrayed Glenda/Woman No. 1 in 1979 at the age of 72. Her character exuded sweet, grandmotherly charm, a persona Cleb maintained religiously in public. But the truth was far more complex. Cleb, who spent decades bouncing between radio and minor TV roles, was said to harbor deep resentment toward her more famous contemporaries. Off-screen, she was fiercely competitive and known to sabotage auditions by spreading malicious gossip about rivals. In the early 1960s, she allegedly had a brief, unacknowledged affair with a powerful CBS executive to secure recurring roles. Her bitterness grew in old age, and insiders reported she became reclusive, often penning angry letters to producers she believed had wronged her. Though she avoided any major public scandal, her personal life was marked by estrangement from family and several feuds within the acting community. Helen Cleb died on December 28, 2003, at the age of 96 from natural causes. Ralph Manza was born on December 1, 1921, and took on the role of Guard/the Bellhop in 1981 when he was 60 years old. On camera, he was the affable sidekick, but off-camera, Manza was infamous for his volatile behavior. Multiple directors described him as brilliant but impossible. He often stormed off sets mid-shoot over perceived slights, once halting production for hours over a missing costume piece. In his younger years, he battled a gambling addiction that left him bankrupt and briefly homeless in the 1970s. His marriage ended in scandal after tabloid rumors of an affair with a much younger actress, rumors he never denied. He also had a long-running feud with a fellow sitcom actor, reportedly getting into a fistfight backstage at a network promo shoot. Though he later found stability, those who worked with him never forgot his unpredictable nature. Ralph Manza died on January 31, 2000, at the age of 78 from complications following a heart attack. David Fresco was born on December 5, 1909, and played Homer in 1979 at the age of 70. Known for portraying meek, bureaucratic characters, his on-screen persona couldn't have been more different from the real man, one whose secret life was cloaked in government suspicion. Fresco's name appeared in early whack investigations during the McCarthy era, and while he denied communist ties, he was quietly blacklisted for several years, leading to a near collapse of his career. To survive, he reportedly acted under aliases in uncredited roles and turned informant on fellow actors, a betrayal that made him a pariah among many colleagues. Despite a later career revival, whispers followed him everywhere. Friends described his demeanor as nervous, defensive, and he reportedly lived in fear of confrontation or exposure. Fresco was also dogged by rumors of a hidden second family, though no proof ever emerged. He died of cancer on July 18, 1997, at the age of 87. Alice Ghostley was born on August 14, 1923, and portrayed Harriet Loring in 1977 at the age of 54. While audiences adored her for eccentric, bumbling roles, behind the scenes, Ghostley was haunted by deep insecurity and long-standing emotional scars. A closeted lesbian during a time of rigid Hollywood expectations, she maintained a sham marriage for years to avoid career suicide. This internal struggle reportedly led to depression and heavy drinking during the 1960s. Several co-stars recalled her as brilliant but emotionally distant, with one describing her breakdown on a sitcom set after being told she was being written off. Despite her comedic genius, Ghostley was never fully embraced by the industry elite, a source of lifelong bitterness. She clashed with producers over creative control and was quietly blacklisted from certain shows after refusing to tone down her improvisational style. Alice Ghostley died on September 21, 2007, at the age of 84, from colon cancer and complications from strokes. Angus Duncan was born on July 11, 1936, and played Father Latwell in 1982 at the age of 46. Though his role was serene and thoughtful, Duncan's real life was fraught with torment. His career had early promise, but a combative reputation in the theater world held him back. Directors called him a perfectionist to the point of destruction. He struggled with alcoholism throughout the 1980s, which led to several stints in rehab, collapse of his marriage to Beverly McKinsey. Their divorce was rumored to involve domestic conflict and emotional abuse, though neither ever spoke publicly. Behind closed doors, Duncan was plagued by paranoia. He believed he was being blacklisted for past political activism and once accused a co-star of spying on him for a network executive. Though he attempted a quiet comeback in the 90s, he was shunned by casting directors who found him erratic. Angus Duncan died of cancer on March 22, 2007, at the age of 70. Larry Gellman was born on November 3, 1930, and portrayed Roscoe in 1981 at the age of 51. A master of the affable side character, Gellman's gentle roles masked an existence marked by contradictions. Behind his cheerful screen persona was a man haunted by his double life, performing in family sitcoms by day and writing for adult films under pseudonyms at night to cover mounting debts. His financial troubles, caused in part by a compulsive gambling habit, were a well-kept secret until a 1989 lawsuit exposed his losses in a high-stakes poker ring linked to mob activity. Though never formally charged, the scandal cost him TV work for years. His marriage collapsed amid infidelity allegations and a long-rumored affair with a much younger co-star. Though he later found redemption in stage work, Gellman remained a cautionary tale in Hollywood. He died on June 7, 2021, at the age of 90 from complications following a fall. Cliff Norton was born on March 21, 1918, and played Chet Bradley/Manny Mancuso in 1978 at the age of 60. His character brought comic relief with a quirky, grandfatherly presence, but Norton's off-screen demeanor was far less lovable. A World War II veteran turned grizzled comic, he was notorious among peers for his short temper and a penchant for backstage blow-ups. Though his early career soared with radio and variety shows, by the time he joined One Day at a Time, he was already labeled difficult. Rumors circulated about his intense feuds with producers and his disdain for younger talent, whom he accused of ruining the craft. His marriage suffered, strained by his obsession with reclaiming fame, and his only son became estranged after a public fallout over inheritance. Despite maintaining a clean image in interviews, those who worked with him described a man who never forgave Hollywood for forgetting him. He died of lung cancer on January 25, 2003, at age 84. Roy Stewart was born on July 17, 1927, and played Bill/Young Man in 1976 at age 49. Though his roles were small, his quiet strength on screen often betrayed the turmoil behind the curtain. Stewart, openly gay in an era when it ruined careers, faced vicious industry discrimination. He was fired from a major pilot after a studio executive discovered his sexual orientation, sending his career into a tailspin. His time on One Day at a Time was clouded by his frustration at being cast in roles that stripped him of depth. Though active in LGBTQ theater circles, Stewart led a lonely personal life, scarred by the early deaths of multiple partners during the AIDS crisis. Friends recalled a man tormented by guilt, believing he survived while others didn't. Behind his poised demeanor was a man numbed by trauma and bitterness toward the industry that shut him out. He died of cancer on December 25, 2005, at the age of 78. Jack Dodson was born on May 16, 1931, and appeared in 1979 as Bernie/Mr. Reed at the age of 48. Though beloved for his role on The Andy Griffith Show, Dodson's real life was mired in professional jealousy and personal turmoil. As younger actors rose, he grew resentful, often berating junior castmates and accusing producers of ageism. His bitterness boiled over during One Day at a Time, where he reportedly clashed with writers over his character's neutered portrayal. Off-camera, his marriage to Mary Dodson was strained by years of infidelity. An obsessive outdoorsman, Dodson retreated to remote fishing cabins for weeks, sometimes disappearing from sets without notice. Rumors persisted about his erratic behavior during these absences, with whispers of substance abuse and mental health episodes. Despite this, he kept a loyal fan base, shielding his darker struggles from public view. He died of heart failure on September 16, 1994, at the age of 63. Who is your favorite character in One Day at a Time? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.